Hello there, daring capsuleers. My name is Nova Valentis, and I'm gonna walk you through the winning Windi fittings. Because I made 3 different fittings for you guys, depending on skill and how much money you're willing to spend. I think all 3 of them are good. One of them is a bit too expensive for my taste, but I know a lot of you guys want to min-max it. This is in relation to the video of making 240 million per hour at least. So it's really paying off quite quickly for high sec, I think. Alright, I'm gonna walk you through it. At first, skills. So the ship needs Galanti skill and a Minmatar battleship skill. If you have them both to 4, I think it's still very viable. You're gonna lack tracking, of course, and I'm not sure what you want to skill up first, because with the Windi webbing bonus, you can, if you wait long enough after you web a target, then you're suddenly tracking it because it slows down fast, like enough, and then I'm not sure what I would skill to 5 first, to be honest. You're gonna get a static roll bonus of the damage, which is nice to win the contests with other players in the sites, to get top damage and to get the prize, which is gonna make your ISK per hour much better if you win it all the time. So this is static. As soon as you can sit in the ship, you have this, but I would only fly it if I had both to 4, I think. It's not really that viable otherwise. So the first fitting is for, meta neutron blasters. They could, I think, also be Tech 2 and it would still fit. Not quite. We would have to make this a compact, I think, and then it would still fit. I mean, that's really not that big of a difference, but I'm gonna keep it like this for you guys, because this is like the entry level what you want to have, and I put more tank on it, so it should survive even without implant set. Because of the reactive hardener, if you keep it running, it's gonna adapt to whatever incoming damage, and you should be pretty fine with it, I think. If not, then you can overheat, and you're definitely gonna be fine, and you can overheat in these sites for longer because you get a overheating bonus. And you can also put in little drugs that help you rep more. So synth exile booster or standard exile booster, which is not too expensive. I think it's like 2 million, and if you're in big trouble and you need to rep more because you need to kill the tackle fricks to warp out or something, then you really want to take that. I would just have it in the cargo bay just in case. Most of the time you're not gonna have bad spawns. The cap on this is very good. 6 minutes is more than my Windi has, and I only got the signal of low cap once or twice, and it was not a big issue. It was never dangerous if you know how to fly the ship somewhat. And you also have a big bonus to being resistant to those newts that you get from the enemy ships, from the rats. So it's really easy to do, because you're not always gonna shoot all your gun, like you're not constantly shooting your guns anyway, and you're not always using a repper either. Most of the time I have my repper off. I just leave it off, and then the boss is finished and I'm half armor and I just wrap it up for the next side. So if you kill the enemies quick enough, you don't have to rep a lot, because if you don't have it on, then you're 70%, so your cap is going to recharge. Alright, so this is that, but it's not a cap stable fitting. The drones, I would use Praetors, and if you don't have great drone skills, you can also use infiltrators if you can only do medium drones. They're adding a nice EM damage onto the enemy. on the boss, and that's the most important. It does the best damage. Your kinetic and thermal damage that you do is also pretty fine. Oh yeah, also I made like a simulated damage profile of the rats. It's not accurate, I know, but it's just an approximation. Tracking, yeah, you should have good gunnery skills for sure. If we look at the module skills here, there's a lot of skills. You should have good fitting skills, good enough anyway, but the cap skills are important, and repping, armor repping. Those are the important ones. And you kind of want to have your weapon skills at least 4, like all the turret skills. Maybe you don't need it all to 4, but it's gonna work better for sure. The repair systems, yeah, that's basically it, I think. There's some other skills for the hardener for it to use less capacitor, I think. So that could be something when you're lacking capacitor and you don't get those 6 minutes, or at least say 530. You're still gonna be fine with 530, I think. Then you should look into what skills you can use to get better capacitor. If the MWD, you're only gonna pulse once or twice to get close to the battleship boss, and that's it. So it doesn't really matter that much. For my fitting, the medium one, I'm using more implants. For the cheap one, I have only a repair proficiency because it's 20 million, and if you can afford a ship for 770, apparently, I mean, it's a total of 900. That's the cheap version, like the basic entry version, and it's still gonna do fine. It's still gonna do pretty fine. You could even downgrade this this rig slot if you don't want to commit to the rig slot setting, but I guess it's gonna be good for most PvE versions of this ship. Alright, my version of the fitting, I have a better MWD in there. The reason is all the MWDs give a nerf to the total cap, so it kind of has to be in there. A good MWD has to be in there, otherwise you're gonna have even less cap, and sometimes you're kind of on the edge of the cap there. At least it gives you a warning. I never really got onto the edge, but if you over rep and keep the repper running for a long time, then you're gonna draw your cap down and you're not stable. So don't do that, watch out. The implant set that I'm using there is, oh, what is this? I don't want it full screen, I just want this bigger. The implant set I'm using there is just what I had, and I don't want to change it, but you could make it better. You could put, oh, actually I wouldn't change this one, because this one, if you have it active, it pushes you under 8 seconds. That means you're always going to warp in 8 seconds. And it's so nice to be always warping to the next side faster than all of your competition. Because there might be other competition in there, and then you don't want all at one in there, and each gate, each acceleration gate, you're gonna save time if you're not like a Caldari battleship warping at 12 seconds or something like that. One of the nicest parts about this ship. This I had in there. There's no good, I think, gunnery thing for the slot 8. In slot 9, if you have like the very expensive repper here, you don't need this, I think, and you could put in another damage implant. I'm gonna show you in the very expensive fit. This is a sensible fit, I would say. It has a bit of bling, but it also can use it. The nice webifier is really useful because it has 14 kilometers range and 90% bonus with the Windi bonus completed out. You don't need the expensive tracking enhancer, it's just a little bit better and headed. These modules are not too expensive, but they give you a bonus. You can probably take to this one if you have the good repper. Alright, implants, boosters. Other useful boosters is the drop booster. there we have it. Because it's gonna make your tracking speed better, especially if you don't have perfect skills, then here's the tracking. That's the difference. It's pretty good. But if you don't have good booster skills, maybe you should only take the synth boosters. Those are the ones that don't have side effects. And the damage boosters, they drop on each side anyway. They don't have side effects. So whether you take a 1 or 2 or 3, how much you want to like improve your ISK per hour or the chances of winning the competition, but sometimes they don't even have to overheat and you win all the time with this. Has 2200 DPS, and I'm gonna show you a trick on at the end where you can make your DPS better pretty cheap. So rigs, I put a thermal. Oh wait, I actually have a thermal in there, but there should be an explosive in there because you get 10% thermal bonus anyway from the sides. Actually, I'm gonna change that right away. And I'm gonna put everything in the description. Alright. And you should always warp to the sides at 10. Just gonna mention it, so don't forget it. Don't be stuck on the acceleration gate. You can just activate it and you're not gonna bump against the acceleration gate if you warp at 10 all the time. Implants, boosters, we got over that, line time. Alright, I think we went over everything, and this is the boss version. I think, well, I just thought if I was one of those crazy people blinging everything completely, I think the tracking enhancers are not worth the ISK. It's 140 million. I think what has a better impact are expensive implants, because you're going to keep those. You're not going to die in that pod. And those two, if you look at the DPS, from 2065 to 2160, 2270. And that's as much as these modules. So they're not giving that much better tracking and everything and range. The difference is not justified. The web is actually, it's just convenient. If you want to go for a cheaper web on any of those fits, yeah, I would use a faction so you can at least reach out to 12 without overheating all the time. You could also do a tech 2. It's just going to take you a bit longer. And it's also fine. If you don't have the ISK, don't spend it. Yeah, the Federation Navy Mag field stabilizers, they're gonna give you a bunch of DPS, but I think the implants are the bigger difference. See, this is only 100 for all of them, and that costs you 300 million ISK. So I'm not sure if it's worth it, but the implants are probably more worth it. I'm using my combo of Asclepion. I think if you all low grade it, if you have the expensive wrapper, it's also completely fine. I wouldn't do it without though, because if you get the meanest spawns, you're gonna get low into armor and you don't want to overheat your wrapper all the time. It also costs you more cap to overheat it. Or you need to use a booster, like a Exile booster or something, and I'm just too lazy for that. I don't want to do that. I also think that these Windicators, almost all of them, especially the middle one at least, is gonna win against the nightmare that Hateless Gaming suggested. Check out his video channel. He also has really good videos for cheaper fits that work in these sites. Praxis fit for like 200, 300 million. And the last tip is to use mutaplasmids. I use them on my Windicator. Oh, we gotta have the thing open. I used it on my Windicator and I made, I think I used around 6 million ISK, and I made 3 damage modules that are better, give better damage. They have a little bit less CPU, some of them, or they cost more CPU, so they're worse in that regard, but they give you better damage. And I only bought for 2 million those decayed magnetic field stabilizer mutaplasmids, and I got lucky. Sometimes you're gonna roll 6 times and maybe get 3 good ones, and I just put the 3 good ones in there, and you can play around with that all you want. It's a cheap improvement compared to 100 million for a faction module, and also you don't need the fancy tracking enhancer per se, I think. And this is how you find it. Magnetic field stabilizer, and then you can get decayed, gravid, or unstable. Decayed is the cheapest, gravid is medium, and unstable has the biggest effects but is the most expensive. And at that point I'm not sure if it's worth it anymore. Alright, that's it. I'm gonna upload more of the action of what the Windi can do and how it wins all the time. And again, if you want to send me a skin, I would be very happy. Wink, 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 wink. Yeah, that's it. Those are the 3 Windi fits. Play them carefully. You can't rep all the time. You have to look out for your capacitor. You can't have your MWD running all the time. You're gonna die. Or you might die if you get stressed out or something. You can still, probably you can still kill the tackle freaks fast enough and warp out. But I just don't want you guys to just see the fit and use it and then you say, oh Nova, this is not like the cap stable fits I'm used to, and I just died. Alright, that's it with the fitting. And it served me very well, and I think I made the money back twice or 3-fold already. And it's fun winning all the time. That's why it's the Windicator, or however you want to name it. See you guys in the next video, or out in space. Have a great day.